The Cavaliers came back with a vengeance, overcoming a 23-point deficit against the Knicks. LeBron, all business, scoring or assisting on 30 fourth-quarter points, including the go-ahead three in the face of Kristaps Porzingis. The Cavs are at a 500 record now. They are 7-7. Stephen A., what did you learn about the land last night?
I learned that the Cleveland Cavaliers can be had. That it is not a guarantee that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be coming out of the Eastern Conference. Should they be the favorites? Absolutely, particularly when you consider the fact that Isaiah Thomas will be coming back. That'll be a huge boost for them. But it's not a foregone conclusion. This is an older team. The oldest team in the league, averaging age of 30. They pick and choose when to defend. They don't do it always. And the kind of explosion that we saw last night, believe it or not, was not from LeBron James. It was from a guy by the name of Kyle Korver, Max. 19 points of his 21 points in the fourth quarter. 4 of the 7 assists, 4 of the 8 assists that LeBron had in the fourth quarter was feeding Kyle Korver for threes. You can call that an assist you want to, but it's basically handing it off, fire away, bombs away. The man was on fire, no question about it. And you were going up against a Knicks team that I think is a one-armed bandit. I looked at Porzingis, as big time as he can be, averaging 30 coming in the last night. He just still doesn't feel to me to be the number one scoring option. He is for the Knicks, but a legitimate, bona fide number one scoring option. When Cleveland clamped down and they got under those legs, it was difficult for him to do some things. Missed 2 pivotal free throws late in the game, by the way. We ain't going to get into how LeBron missed those free throws, but maybe we should, because LeBron missing free throws, not being entirely reliable from the free throw line, as has always been the case with them, combined with them being old, combined with them picking and choosing when to defend, to the point, Max, where Tyronn Lue, the coach, benched the starters in the third quarter, sat them all down. I look at it from that perspective. I mean, there's a guy by the name of Cedi Osman, or whatever his name was, that was on the court for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's how disgusted Tyronn Lue was with the defensive effort that he was seeing. So all of that being said, I just think about Boston. I think about Milwaukee acquiring Eric Bledsoe. I think about those two teams in particular, along with Miami. I don't care how they're struggling. I think as the season wanes, I think that Miami is going to be a sleeper as well. I'm not going to dismiss the Washington Wizards. I just think it's one of those things where it is not a foregone conclusion that the Cleveland Cavaliers is going to cakewalk to a finals. They should be the favorite, but I got to tell you, Max, I think they could be had.
What am I seeing from Cleveland right now? The same exact thing that I've seen all season from Cleveland. I mentioned the 538 all season.
Okay.
I mentioned the 538 podcast where they point out that, in fact, what your eyes are seeing is the truth. There are 2 players on Cleveland who are playing well. LeBron James is having one of the best statistical seasons offensively of his entire career, according to the advanced analytics. And you can see he's playing very well on the offensive end. And Kyle Korver is balling out. He's hitting shots. No one else is. No one else on the team is playing the way you'd anticipate them playing. Same thing happened last night. No one showed up except for LeBron. And when you needed him, Kyle Korver. It's the exact same thing. Now, you mentioned, so the Knicks were motivated. Well, we're going to talk about that in a second. And they win as much as they lose. And the Cavs have struggled against teams this year. They've struggled, period. They also win as much as they lose, give or take. You mentioned the idea that they're not just going to cakewalk to the finals. I just want to remind everyone. Yeah. Why did LeBron James go back to Cleveland? What was the real reason? They kept drafting first. He didn't come back when they got Anthony Bennett. They drafted Kyrie Irving, and he said, oh. And he still didn't say, I want to go to Cleveland. Then they drafted Wiggins, and he goes, oh, we could go get Kevin Love for Wiggins and Kyrie Irving. I want to play with that team. They traded Kyrie Irving. What they got back was what they needed, an approximation of Kyrie, a dribble penetrator who could make good decisions with the ball, finish in the paint, and hit shots from outside. He's not there. If Kyrie was never there.
Crowder, let's not forget.
What's that?
Crowder.
Crowder's an excellent piece, but I mean, when LeBron was looking at, there was no Crowder equivalent when LeBron was looking at Cleveland originally. Yeah. If you would have taken Kyrie off that team, LeBron wouldn't have said, I want to play on that team. So they took Kyrie off, replaced him with Isaiah. That's a good replacement. Isaiah hasn't been on the floor. If Isaiah comes back as Isaiah, the Eastern Conference is not stopping LeBron.
Yeah, Stephen A., that's why I'm wondering, isn't it premature to say that they can be had since we haven't seen them play with Isaiah?
Well, that's the reason, because we haven't seen them play with Isaiah, combined with the fact that they appear to have a problem in terms of the bodies that they have. figuring out who should play, how many minutes, et cetera, et cetera. We're not talking about talent because there's no question that Cleveland has the talent. What we're talking about age, we're talking about experience. In the case of Isaiah Thomas, we're talking about health, and we're talking about a level of cohesiveness that they may not have. Because as we look at this team and you're trying to figure out who gets what, who gets the ball, who gets the time, et cetera, those are not things that you want to have when you're challenging for a fourth consecutive appearance in the NBA Finals. Now, it does help that you have the best player in the world, who's averaging 28, 8, and 7. We get all of that. LeBron James is the best in the world. But the flip side to all of this is that if pay attention, and I'll go your route, Max, in terms of the metrics, in terms of the stats and everything. Have we seen how Boston has been playing? Particularly on the defensive side of the floor.
They got a great young coach.
I mean, they got a great young coach, and they got great young pieces. Check this out as I watched Boston the other day. And this is why I'm so sad that Gordon Hayward is out. I wish him nothing but the best. Boy, I hope he comes back.
Would have been something to see him on this team. Yeah.
As we watch, think about it. We didn't expect Boston to be this good with him, let alone without him. And then we look at Boston right now, Kyrie dancing on anybody, just putting on an absolute show. I was on a phone with a few cats the other day, talking to them about Kyrie Irving and how nasty this brother is. Then we look at guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, long and athletic, who can defend anybody outside of LeBron.
Tatum polished for a rookie.
Right. And then you got young, feisty dudes like Rozier and Marcus Smart. They either are long and athletic or short and pit bullets and feisty with talent.
Know what the problem is with
you can't
Boston?
ignore it.